Welcome back to another episode of Self Love is a Key Wellness. I'm Kambria Caldwell. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I have with me Miss Donisha Sales, and she is a certified death doula.
I'm a certified deaf doula and licensed practical nurse, and I recently was just doing hospice, but I just quit. But we'll get into that.
Yes, so I would love to hear all about your journey into becoming a doula, and it sounds like it started quite some time ago. So please tell me your story.
It did. Okay, so how I came on this journey to wanting to help people transition is okay. So I went through a spiritual awakening back in like 2016 due to like just some pain. So I started questioning everything, like, what am I here for? Because like the world just looked different to me. And I'm like, okay, well, God, what am I here for? Like, it has to be something more. Like, I was searching for something more. Like, this couldn't have been it. So I said this prayer, I let it go. From then on, I started being led to people that were transitioning, dying. Okay, so my journey to becoming a doula. First, let's start with me just praying to God, like, what am I supposed to be doing here? What is my purpose here on this earth? And from there, I just paid attention to all the signs and where I was being led, and I kept being led. At the time, I was working as a school bus driver, and just out of the blue, I started getting like calls from people to go help people that were like transitioning, to just go be like a caregiver, go sit bedside, and I fell in love with it. But I kept answering the call because God kept sending me to these people. So what made me know that it was my purpose to help people transition is I had this one patient that I'll never ever forget. Me and her talked, we talked and talked about, God, and we talked about transitioning, and we talked about her diagnosis and everything that she was going through and how she felt. And in those moments, it would just be like little times where like the lights would flicker. It would just be little stuff that would be happening. And then I ended up convincing her, to get her kids baptized because she was so scared of dying. She had ALS. Her mind was completely healthy, but her bones were wasting. So, just in that moment, I was like, this is what I want to do. I fell in love with it. It filled my cup. It also was helping other people. And then I always spent my whole life helping other people. So I told God too, like, can you please send me the people that really need my help instead of these people in the world that I just been helping and it's not getting me anywhere. It's not filling my cup. It's taken away from me actually. So I just went ahead, answered the call. From there, I said, okay, COVID came. So I decided, well, I've been called to all these people that have been transitioning. Well, let me go to school. Let me go to nursing school.
Okay.
Let me go to nursing school. So didn't know how I was going to make it through nursing school because to me, I wasn't like the smartest person in the world, but I'm like, this seemed like a challenge. But I knew that if it was a calling over my life for me to help people transition, that God was going to make a way for me to make it through nursing school. Made a way. I made it through nursing school flying colors.
Wow, that's amazing.
Literally flying. Yes. Thank you. Flying colors, made it through. Damn. From there, I already knew I wanted to go into hospice. I was already looking for hospice jobs, but I couldn't get hired as a hospice nurse because I was too new of a nurse. So they're like, no, it's when you're dealing with hospice, you have to know skills. There's a lot of things that go into hospice because you're going from facility to facility, you're going from home to home, and you need to really be experienced to, take care of your patient. So I just
Well,
settled
let me
for like, hmm
Why hospice? Like, why hospice? Why was that something that you were drawn to so early on in your career?
because I knew that's where I would be around the people that would be transitioning and I would be able
Okay.
to give more of myself.
Okay.
I thought this is what I thought going into hospice. It's the thoughts and what actually happened is two different things. So what I thought
Mhm.
going into hospice would be like would be similar to me being a caregiver when I was caregiving, where I would be bedside. I'll be soothing that person, soothing the family, pouring into them, making them feel comfortable and accepting the fact that, hey, we all have to transition out of here one day. You know, because when you land on your deathbed, even when you're sick and you're not sure if you're gonna make it out, it's scary. So I thought I was gonna be that person that was gonna be there to really help that person in that family. But in hospice, as a hospice nurse, that's not what you do. As a hospice nurse, you pretty much, yes, you go see people that are transitioning. Yes, you go see people to manage their pain. Yes, you go help a person that's in respiratory distress. Yes, you're there bedside sometimes for a few minutes to educate the family on the dying process and things like that. But you're not there for that continuous care, meaning you're bedside helping that person until they officially transition. So being a hospice nurse, what I thought it was and actually what I was doing, I wasn't fulfilled. I wasn't fulfilled. I felt like I wasn't giving enough of myself to my patients. It was quick in and out. So I had one of my cousin, she had one day randomly just like called me a death doula. And I'm like, what is that? Never heard of it ever in my life, right? So left it alone. Huh?
Yeah, for me either. Never heard of it before. I was like,
Yeah.
they it's amazing they have a death do. That's amazing. Yeah.
Yes. Never heard of it a day in my life, but I didn't pay it no mind. But I'm a big science person. So I went on about my day. I was at work one day and my regional vice president came up to me. And we were just talking and she was asking me how did I get into hospice and I was telling her how I got into hospice and why I loved it so much and how I felt like it was my purpose to help people understand dying and what it is to transition. So after I told her my story, she said, "You'll make a great death doula." Second time you hearing this, right? So I'm like, what is this? So what did I do? I'm a big researcher. I started researching. What is a death doula? Started researching, love what I was researching, what I was reading. So I spent the money and checked into a course so I can get my license because I'm already doing this. I'm already being a doula as a hospice nurse, but I'm not using my full capacity of myself to help people because I'm under somebody else's umbrella.
Yeah.
So I'm limited to what I could do. And plus, I'm a licensed nurse. So at the same time, I have to protect my license. So I
Yeah.
can't just be doing all, whatever I want to do. So I decided to take this course, took this course, and I decided, okay, you here, you got your certificate, and let's get you an LLC.
What does a death doula actually do? What are the services
So a deaf
entail? Doula.
So basically, a deaf doula is somebody that provides spiritual, emotional, and physical support to families and a patient just to be there for them, companionship, educate them, let them know what dying looks like. You're supposed to, help them to welcome dying. It's not something to be afraid of.
Yes.
As a doula, yes, like I feel like to me, just as much as we celebrate birth, we
Yeah.
should celebrate death. Because just like bringing somebody into the world is a journey, leaving the world is a journey.
Yeah.
Your body goes through so many different changes and phases to transition out of here. Whether we know it or not, our body uses so much energy just to transition. And a lot of families, they see their loved one in bed, they stop eating, they become comatose, maybe they forget who they are. They think that it's their fault. It's something they did. That's just the body's natural way of going through the phases of getting ready to shut down.
Yes.
So I see patients all the time. The family is like, they don't want to eat. They don't want to eat. And I always educate the family, like, it's not them that doesn't want to eat. It's the body. The body is telling them no more. We're preparing to go through a journey to transition out of here. So that's pretty much what I do. We also I'm gonna get into like essential oils where the families don't have to use the narcotics to help comfort the patient. Maybe chamomile or lavender, things that are natural that can help with anxiety and pain. You know, soothing music, massages, um, just stuff like that. Where, of course, the hospice team, I'm gonna work close with the hospice team because I'm gonna be an advocate for my patient. I know how hospice is. I know how they work. So I'm gonna make sure that my patient gets takes full advantage of the services that are provided by the hospice team. And I just don't, some families are scared of the morphine, lorazepam route. I don't want them to feel like that's the only way. It's not. There's so many other things that we could do to make somebody comfortable.
So what is it like being in hospice with a family? What should they expect when their loved one is staying in hospice?
They should, it's so many things, depending on the diagnosis, depending on, the length of time that they have, they could expect so many different things. A family could expect their loved one going into the hospital on a Monday, coming home on hospice on a Wednesday. That doctor can tell them they have 6 months or less to live, but they can pass away that same day. Sometimes you have people that are come on hospice, and the doctors may tell the family they have 6 months to less than 6 months to live. That person stay alive for over 2 years. It just really depends on where they are in their journey with whatever terminal illness they have. So I just tell families, there is no day, there is no time, there is no way for us to tell you when, but we can tell you when it's close because every person goes through the same transitioning phase. So once we get to the last phase, it'll be more so they're pretty much comatose. They haven't eaten for over 3 to 4 days, we're unable to arouse them. Blood pressure goes down, heart rate goes up, oxygen is no longer being compensated. We know it's close. That's within hours to days. The thing that I feel that hospice um, fails to educate the families on is the whole process. Because I have been to so many families that are like, I don't know, they didn't tell me anything, I don't know, they may hear a sign, they freak out. You ever heard of the gurgling? The gurgling, they call it the death rattle, right? So when families
Yes.
hear that rattle, they automatically think like, this is it, or they think that, oh my God, my loved one is in so much pain, but that's normal. It's natural. It just sounds scary. It just means the body is doing what it's
It
supposed to
sounds
do.
horrible.
It's, yeah, the body is just doing what it's supposed to do. It's getting ready. I've always been interested in death as a little girl. I was always scared of death. It was times in my life where I didn't even go outside as an adult because I was scared that I was gonna go outside and die. I was scared that I was gonna be driving on the freeway and I was gonna fall off the overpass. I was really scared, so it made me dive deeper into
Yeah,
understanding
and
death.
there's a name for that. It's called thanophobia, and there's many people in the world, and there's a community of people in the world who have a fear of death, and it controls their lives.
I was one of them, so it made me dive deeper into understanding
Oh
what it
my
was
goodness.
because I didn't want to live in that fear. Like I didn't want to live in that fear. And once I started to understand part of the process. We all have to go through this. You can't control it. Whether you stay in the house or go out, girl, your time is already set, you know? So me understanding death also helped me to live, to enjoy my life.
Okay, so you want to talk about before you became a doula, right? Tell me
So
more
okay,
about
so
that.
yeah, prior to me becoming a doula, so once I heard it the second time, I did my research, I looked it up, I said, hey, this is what I'm gonna do. God, you already sent me two messages through two different vessels. I'm not gonna wait for a third vessel. Let me just jump on it because obviously this is the direction you want me to go, and this is what I really, really love. I really love to make people comfortable with transitioning. Um, Prior to that, leading up to where I am now, with even like leaving my job and taking a leap of faith on myself, just to see, you know, where this can take me. Um, I had already started like I felt like I kind of was losing a passion for hospice per se, because I felt like it was more of a business. Like the medical field to me is business. I feel like if there are nurses that are really compassionate and really care for their patients, and it is their purpose, but there are a lot that just do it for the money. So for me, when I started feeling like my passion was dwindling because of how the company was running things and how I didn't feel like they made our patients 100% a priority. They kind of were looking at the patients like, this is a business. You need to be in and out and go to the next, you know. I started to not be fulfilled. So I just told myself, I said, you got this death doula. This is really your purpose. Like it's honestly your purpose. Quit your job. I was like, and just like when going through nursing school, I said, if this is what's supposed to be, God will make a way. Literally. So the day I decided to quit my job, I woke up the next day after they begged me not to quit. I woke up the next day and I got a message on my phone from like just some random number. And it was like, hey, Donisha, today is the day like of the rest of your life. You need to follow your dreams and wishes and hopes, and you won't regret that you did it. Leave whatever in the past and just take this journey. So I'm like, oh, this is weird because it was like an 866 number. I said, okay, it's a message from, my angels. Like I believe in, you know, signs of synchronicity. So I'm like, okay, did that after my job told me to sleep on it. My shift started at 3:30 p.m. I sent my boss email at 3:55 p.m. I said, hey, I slept on it. I'm still making a decision to part ways with the company. I'm gonna just take this as a stepping stone to my purpose that I'm supposed to fulfill here on this earth and see where it goes. That was at 3:55 p.m. 3:56 p.m. I got a message from my first paying client from my doula business. And that alone showed me like you're making the right decision. Mind you, I took screenshots of all this because I'm like, nobody gonna believe this. Like I really believe God and listening to my spirit. My spirit said go, I'm going. And it was just like boom, 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 boom. Everything started happening. I'm talking about from me quitting my job to getting my first client to people hitting me up, calling me, sending me messages that I haven't talked to in like a couple of years. Hey, I'm calling you. I want to talk to you about the business that we were talking about, uh, a year prior, because I had one patient, I was taking care of his wife. And she had told me one day, she hadn't been outside for a few years. And she said, I don't even know what the air feels like anymore. So I told her, I said, okay, when on my next off day, I'm gonna come over here and get you out of bed and take you outside. So on my next off day, I did. I went over her house, took her out of bed, took her outside in her wheelchair, and it was to me, it filled me up just to see her inhale and exhale that air that we take for granted every single day. So that further made me want to like continue on this journey. So her husband, he called me just out the blue after she passed about a year ago. And he was just so excited for me about this business, not knowing I just quit my job, not knowing I was fully on board pursuing my business. He just didn't know. And I was like, okay, another sign from God. Ran into another lady, same thing. She's like, take down my number. I want to work with you. Everything just kept happening. Then, of course, you was like, I want to talk to you about it. I'm like, okay, so I'm going in the right direction. I have to be going in the right direction.
Yes, I'm definitely here to like support my sisters. So yeah.
I'm definitely ready. I just walk in a spirit of just being grateful every single day. Honestly, I have my bad moments. I'm not perfect. Like I'm a perfectly imperfect human. You know what I mean? But my intent of my heart and where I know I'm supposed to be going and just letting God lead my life,
Yeah.
I know exactly I'm going to succeed. You know what I mean? I know it's going to take time, but I know with me just giving myself to people raw, as I
Yes.
am, that it's gonna take off. Like I know it's gonna be successful because when I walk into a room, every time I go see a person that is transitioning and I don't know what I'm walking into, I'm always like heart beating fast. You know, my heart is beating fast, my adrenaline is pumping. I don't know what I'm walking into, but it seems like once I step foot in that room, something take over. Spirit take over. I know exactly what to say. I know how to switch the energy in the room. I know how to calm everybody down. I know how to soothe my patient. It's something that happens when I step into that room. It's like magic. So I'm like, this girl, this is what you're supposed to be doing. And it's so many people that are so unaware of transitioning. They
Yes.
don't. They
So, question. So, how will someone know what to ask for when searching for someone who does services such as yourself? Like, what do they ask for? You know?
that's the thing. They don't know. They don't know who to ask for. They don't know what to ask for. Because even I didn't even know about this service, and that it was somebody in the world, people in the world that were deaf doulas. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
think that I think that it starts with just word of mouth. I think it starts with being out here. Even when I go to fast food restaurants, or I'm walking down the street and I meet somebody, I always talk to them about this. It's a topic that's always going to come out of my mouth
Yeah.
about transitioning, just to make people more aware. I think that's just what it's going to take. It's going to take just for people getting it out there that there are people in the world that are willing and ready to help and educate you on transitioning. Most people find out about hospice services and doula services from being placed on from their loved ones being placed on the service.
Yes.
That's it. And then some people they hear about hospice because of just, hearsay as well. And it's something that's scary. It sounds scary, but it's not.
Yes. Yes.
Hospice and death and being a doula, having somebody there, I think is the best thing that any family could have for their loved one. You don't want to see somebody you love suffer.
Yeah.
You don't. Not at all. Um, it's just I don't know, it's the beauty of just making something that people think is so terrible, death,
Yeah.
something so beautiful and so positive.
So, how are you able to overcome your fear of death?
Just walking into it, accepting getting more into God, accepting the fact that, hey, we get one life. We were put here. We were born. We came here to learn lessons. We came here to be a server. And when I say that, I mean be a server of God. We come here because we have a mission to fulfill on this earth. Not
Yes.
everybody knows this, but we have a mission.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So just knowing those things and knowing that I am not in control, not one bit, it helped to relieve that fear of death. Like, oh, it's gonna happen. It is. I accepted it. It's gonna happen. I've I've been around it with my job so much, and I see how peaceful it can be that I'm just not afraid anymore. Like I'm ready. And then I went through a phase, maybe about a year and a half ago where I was in ICU. You know, I had a PIC line in me. I thought I wasn't gonna make it. It was a really, really, yeah, it was real. I was in ICU for 3.5 weeks,
My goodness.
literally sick. I did not know if I was gonna make it through the night. You know what I mean? So I went through the whole phase of at one point I just accepted it. I just looked up, I said, God, if this is it, that's fine. Just let me go in peace. I accepted it. I was ready because I was so sick. I was just ready. So that took a big part, but I think that all of that happened to me to lead me here because now I know what it's like to be that person that's laying in the hospital bed. I know what it's like to be unsure of what's next.
Right.
You don't know.
That's very vulnerable, right? It's very,
Mhm.
you're really at the mercy of the staff who are there, and just yeah, you have to resign to it, right? And just accept what's
Yes.
going to come at that point. That's a very humbling experience, I'm sure.
Very. It was. when I say it was humbling, I did question God, like in some moments, because I'm like, why, like, why is this happening? But then when I started coming out of it and I started seeing I was getting better, even though everybody was telling me I was getting better, I couldn't see I was getting better. I started to see the bigger picture. This is
Hmm.
all part of the journey for you. You had to go through this so you can know what, the person on the other side is feeling. Because I had some nurses that would come in there, they wouldn't introduce themselves to me. They would just come push stuff in my IV. That was scary for me. That was
Yes.
scary for me. And I had some nurses that would come in and they were like, you know, hey, talk to me, introduce themselves, let me know what they were doing. Um, so just being able to get that feel of how it is, it made me even be that much more better. Because I'm like, no, you're not gonna ever make anybody feel like this is just a job. You're just in here, you just touching on their body, working on them. Like, no, this is not. I've seen so many things when I was going through that helped me today. It was
And that's
scary.
what you say when you say advocating, right? Advocating for the patients and for the families. That's I'm here like that's what you're talking about. It's like make sure they understand. Hey, this is a person. This is somebody's mom, somebody's dad, somebody's son, daughter. Treat them with respect, right?
Yes. And I can be a little over the top sometimes, especially when it comes to when I step in that room and my passion starts to overflow. Let me
Yeah,
tell you, if I'm going over that person's body foot, from head to foot, and I'm looking at everything,
yeah,
and I know they have a hospice team, I'm telling the family everything I see. The hospice team needs to come look at this. They need to come look at this. You need to ask them for this because
yeah,
I know what services they can give. And if you
yes.
don't fight for those services, you'll be just looked over. You'll just be
Wow.
another number, another patient. No, I'm fighting for my patients. I do not care. I don't care if the hospice team gets sick of me. No, they need their toenails worked on. Can you get a referral for a podiatrist? They need
Yeah,
this because I know you guys provide that.
yes.
So we're
Yeah.
not leaving nobody behind.
They don't offer it if you don't know they're not even going to offer, huh?
No, they're not. They're gonna come in. They're gonna take vital signs. Um, look at your body and leave because they have somebody else they need to go attend to.
Mhm.
No, not mine, not my patients. No, not somebody that I'm caring for a loved one who's unaware of what you guys even provide. All they know is somebody came to their house and sat down with them, went over some paperwork, had them sign some papers, and were gone. And now these people are just showing up at their house to, see their loved one, but nobody is educating them on anything. No, not on my watch. I'm fighting. I'm fighting for mine.
So I assume this is something that, like, because hospitals have social workers, right?
Yes, yes.
What is the purpose of them being there? Aren't they supposed to be there advocating for the patients?
They are supposed to be there advocating for the patient. And I do believe that the social workers that work with the teams, they do advocate, but it's like one social worker to so many people. You know what I mean? So
The
it's
work.
like, how
Mhm.
can they possibly do every single thing? Be here, be there. Then when you're dealing with people that are on hospice or, entering or palliative care, or entering transition, it's like those families, they panic so they want somebody like right now, right now, right now.
Yeah.
But it's impossible. It's impossible. So that's where I feel like us nurses, we should step in and try to at least help out as part of the team when the social worker isn't able to get there. And even in some cases, you have social workers that are actually great at their job, but maybe they just don't have that, what is it? It's something internally like where, have you ever just met somebody and they could just calm you all the way down,
Yeah.
soothe your whole spirit.
Yeah.
Not everybody has that. It's really a gift. So I think it should just be more people that are aware that social workers, they can't do everything by themselves. They need help too. But they are in place for that. But I was kind of like, I'm like the social worker, the nurse, the sister, cousin, mama, whatever you need me to be, I'm that for in that moment for that patient.
That's where you step in for sure. Okay.
And now I'm being transitioned in so many ways. Like my life is just I'm rolling with it because I know it's all for a higher purpose. And everybody kind of was fighting with me about me quitting my job because I was working two full-time nursing jobs
Oh,
too.
wow.
So yeah, so people were like, "Oh well, what about the money? What about this?" Mind you, my first job, it wasn't something I 100% wanted to do. I had to do it for experience. I only
Okay.
wanted to do hospice. So hospice ended up being my second full-time job, which wasn't bad because, you know, the workload isn't too heavy. But a lot of people were questioning that, like, are you going to miss the money from both jobs and this and that? But to me, it's the money when you working in your purpose, abundance is going to flow. I'm not worried about that at all because I know God got me and I know for sure abundance is going to flow from me doing his work, for me genuinely giving myself to other people,
I love that.
so. And I just try not to get detoured from comments like that because a lot of people, they will try to come in and they will try to say things to make you go off your path. But it's like when you strong in your faith and you strong with your relationship with God and you have a path that you have to follow, nobody can take you off of it,
Yes.
no matter what. And I always tell everybody, I never believe that if you found something that you love and you stick to that, you'll feel like you never work a day in your life because you love it. I never believed that until now, until I found something that I actually wholeheartedly loved and I stuck with it. And I'm like, it's really true. It's so true. You find that one thing, you stick to that, and you pursue that all the way to the end, you are going to be abundantly blessed with everything that you need. And I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about just the feeling from the inside. You know, you're gonna be fulfilled because you're doing something that you love, and because you're a social worker, right? And you love helping people.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love what I do. I love talking to people from all walks of life. I love helping people from all walks of life. I have clients who come to me to talk about the loss of loved ones. So I love all that work,
Hmm.
because life is beautiful. It's challenging, but yeah, we're all meant to be here, and we all have a purpose in
We
life. 100%.
we do.
Yeah, we do have a
We really,
purpose.
really do.
Hmm.
And that's what I always try to like promote all the time. I always try to promote because I've been through a lot in my life. I've been through a lot, but I've never let the things that I went through turn my heart cold because I always knew I was special. I spent a lot of my life trying to fit in when I was never supposed to fit in. I was always different. I just didn't know it until I started going through things and learning who I was. So I always tell people all the time, stay true to yourself, do
Yes.
what you love, and I'm always going to promote positivity. I do not care. I will promote positivity, but I also believe in people standing up for themselves too. You have to have boundaries because just as equal as you are a good person and you are trying to do a good thing and be genuine, people take advantage of that too. Because they see it as like an easy target. Oh, this person is just so nice, this, that. No, you have to
No.
understand that it's okay to have boundaries. It's okay to stand up for yourself. That does not make you a bad person.
Right.
It
Be
doesn't.
also have discernment. You have to have discernment.
Yes, yes, you do. You do have to be able to discern because somebody could be saying one thing and you just like, yeah,
But
no, it ain't.
be something else. Yeah, they say one thing, but
Yes,
the behavior is different.
doing, yes,
Observe the
this is
behavior, not
true.
the words. Hmm.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm a big, big believer in that. I hear you. And I tell everybody that. They get to talking to me. I say, I hear you, but I'm looking and I'm not seeing what you're saying, you know.
Yeah, so you definitely somebody I want to have in my corner. My goodness, you're the person to have, right? To advocate for somebody, to advocate for families. My goodness. So okay, so if someone were to want to get in contact with you, how would they do that?
So gentle goodbyes with grace.
I love
Yes.
that.
And then, My email is deaf doula, Danisha@gmail.com. Because I don't want to be that person that's unable to help somebody due to financial reasons. Like, I don't want to be that person. I want to be able to help anybody in whatever financial bracket they in, because I feel like everybody needs somebody. And whether I help you for free, $10, $30, $100, I'm still providing the service that I'm told to provide by our Father. So I'm going to be blessed regardless.
Insurance wouldn't be able to. You couldn't like pay for any kind of doula service through insurance. That's
No.
what, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's what you need. Oh, yeah. No, 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 no. It's a strictly cash paying business. I've been like kind of messing with what I want to do with packages, because I don't want anybody to feel like they can't get a service from me. I don't care what it is. Even if I'm just going in there just to talk to a family, or just going in there to soothe a loved one, I don't want it to be limited to just people that are financially stable. No, I want to help everybody, because in my heart it feels right. So I'm gonna go with what's in me, you know, and I'm not gonna take it as a loss. I'm gonna take it as right place, right time. It's been so many times where I was sent to drive 40 miles to go see a patient that wasn't in my area. And sometimes I would kind of get upset because it was a far drive. But I knew once I got there, God wanted me here with this family. They needed me, because I went in there and I changed everything around for them and that patient. So I just look at it now like, girl, right place, right time. You're supposed to be here for this person.
The time that really stuck out to you, where you were able to be there for a family during the transition of a loved one.
Yes, 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 yes. So I have a few times. So my most memorable time being with a family that was transitioning, it was a family, the patient was 34, 34 years old. Very sad to me. So young. They had cancer. And the family was just confused. They didn't know what was next. Hospital told them one thing, hospice told them one thing, family is telling them one thing. But then when I stepped in there and I pretty much started to educate them and, be very transparent on what was going on, sitting there telling them what they need to do with their loved one, sit here, because the last thing that goes is the hearing. Sit here, talk to them, love them, let them know it's okay. They're doing a good job, transition them. um, it was memorable because the family was going to send this patient back out to the hospital. And I told them, I mean, if you want to send them back out to the hospital, that's fine. But I'm telling you now that this person, is going to pass tonight, literally tonight. So they said, okay. We sat down, we talked. Um, the family member was going to gather all. I told her, I said, gather everybody up, have everybody come over. Y'all come see, your loved one and talk to them, because it's going to be soon. And you guys can decide if you're going to send this person out. I left. They called me back like an hour and a half later. Person transitioned. It just, that to me is memorable because I was able to get them to fully see the bigger picture of what was going on. Because to them, they can save this person. I can save them. But to me, I know I can see the vital stats, like every blood pressure is super low. Oxygen is not being compensated. Patient is not able to be aroused. They haven't had any urine output for over almost a week. They stopped eating a week ago. Whether you take them back to the hospital or not, the same thing is going to occur. So to me, it was just memorable because they were fully accepted in that moment. And they were so grateful for me being honest and not just being like, oh, well, I don't know. No, 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 no. Let's be transparent here, because this is somebody that you love that I know for sure is getting ready to transition out. So I need everybody that you want to come see this person before they transition out to be present and be aware of what's going on. I don't want anybody, in darkness. And I feel like my mission was accomplished there. And they were so grateful. Like, thank you. Thank you so much for just coming here, being here, educating us on what's to happen. It's so many more though. It's so many more stories. I had a story one time I was there, patient, I turned around to get medicine ready to give to her, turned around, she had stopped breathing and the patio door flew open, just flew open. A door that never ever opens. That was memorable because the family was like, they were like, oh my God, like to them, I was just some like angel on earth that helped this person transition, but it wasn't me. It was just God letting them know, hey, I'm here and their transition peacefully. It's things like that that make it memorable for me. Just knowing that I was there, I was able to educate, and the family is so grateful. Because even to me, I think that what I do is so small. I don't think it's something grand. But when you're done doing what you're supposed to do for that family and that patient, how grateful the family is for something that you feel like was so easy is to me that's so fulfilling because it's like I came in there and to me it was something so simple, but for them it was something so huge. So that's always a big plus for me, and it fills up my cup because my mission is complete. I came and I did what I was supposed to do. So I'm telling you, if you know anybody, even if they unsure, I will come. I will come to make them sure, to ease them. Like I do not mind going out of my way to be there. I don't care who it is.
Now, okay, I've heard stories, right, where they say that sometimes the person will speak or come back or appear like they're still breathing and they're actually not there anymore. Is that true? Like
Mm,
phantom movements or things like that. Does that sometimes happen?
okay, so yeah,
It can be upsetting to watch. Like, you can get upset because you think that they're still living
still
and they're
alive.
there. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have families do that where like their loved one are like fully I know like I put on my stethoscope, I check the apical heartbeat, nothing's there, no signs of life. But see the body is still going through the process of fully shutting down. So
Mhm.
sometimes maybe like a arm move or like it appears that they're breathing but they're not breathing. I don't it's sometimes I have looked at patients that I know aren't here anymore, but I'm just like looking like is their chest moving? And you think, but I'm like, maybe not. But I do see sometimes the movement, but it's not nothing like a strenuous or huge movement to where like you thinking that they're there. I think that sometimes the families are still kind of in denial,
Yes.
to be honest. That's really what it is. So I kind of like I don't go along with it. I kind of just explain to them that the body is still, shutting down fully. Because even when you listen to a person from the inside, and you have on your stethoscope, you can still hear like um, the valves still have hyperactive noises and stuff like that. Like the body is still going through the process of shutting down. So that's just what that is.
That's what that is. Okay,
Yeah.
yes. I can see how that could be upsetting for someone if they're in denial, if they're just like, oh no, no, there's still a chance, but no.
Mm-mm. And most of the time when I do run across the family members that are in denial, that's when I'm the most transparent
Hmm.
because it's like, I get it. I understand, you don't want to accept this, but this is really what's going on right here, right now. I don't want you to be blind to what's happening.
Yes.
And some people like to make up these fairy tales for people and make them think, oh, they have maybe we can say, oh, we can do this, we can do IV therapy, we can try to feed them. No, all those things are wrong to do when somebody is transitioning. You don't wanna do IV therapy because you can, fluid overload. You know what I mean? You don't want to force feed somebody that's transitioning because you're thinking that they're just not eating because they're giving up. No, it's not that. The body is giving up. And you force feed them, they can aspirate. That's even more painful, than just letting the body transition because now they have this rattle and pneumonia in their chest from us trying to, force feed them. So when I come to families that are in denial, I think that you just have to be very transparent, period. No way around it.
It's needed. They
Not
need to hear the truth. They need that in that moment.
they do.
They
They need to. Yeah.
that
It took me. It took me a while to kind of. I used to be real timid when telling people like I knew it was close, you know. But then after seeing it so much and seeing how if you're not transparent, how it affects the family, because you can have somebody like me who's first starting off as hospice who's timid to tell a family member that their loved one is going to die. And I'm just like kind of like beating around the bush. And then when the next nurse comes behind me, maybe tomorrow, they're more transparent. So now that family member is confused because this one nurse said this and now you're saying this. So I just think it's just best to just be transparent. Yeah. Mhm.
like I just think that it's a service that needs to be. We need to, especially as Black folks, we need to be honest about death and be more open about death than we are. We
Mhm.
can't hide from it. It's a part of life. Death is a part of life, and so I think it's important, and we need to like have these discussions more openly and talk about wills, and talk about
Yes.
aftercare and talk about you know funeral services because it's
Yes.
expensive, and we should stop being in denial about that. That's just
Yes.
for Black folks in general. I feel like it's a disservice when we don't talk about it.
And this
So
is true. And when I go in and I talk to families, that's one of the questions I ask. Do they have a mortuary in place? Some
yes,
families, they like, I don't even want to think about that. But that's something that's
if you need
important.
to,
You need
yes,
to. Yeah, it's something that's important. Like you said, wills, you have to have that in place. Having somebody that's over your financial, your finances, somebody that's over your medical care. You need those things in place. And when the time comes for you, not to, you can't make those decisions. You know what I mean? You may get to a point where in your terminal illness, you're no longer able to speak. You're no longer able to write. So you need to have people that you know are responsible that are going to make the best decisions for you.
yes. It's
It's
important to have a
true.
plan. Just talk about like the importance of dying with dignity, right?
Okay.
And dying with dignity, it means to not shy away from it. It means to not be afraid of it. It means to plan accordingly for it and to prepare your family for it,
Right.
right?
And also, I don't know, have you looked up like, okay, dying with dignity? It is, they have another, uh, have you heard of the dying with dignity where patients who have, or persons who have illnesses, terminal illnesses from 6 months or less to live, where they can take a medication and stop their heart?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
I've heard that too. Yes, yes. So like Dr. Kevorkian, right? That's what Dr.
Mm.
Kevorkian was a champion that whole movement around that. Um, to say that you should have a choice in how you transition. If you don't want to go through the suffering, you should have a choice to end your life before it gets to that point. Mhm.
Yeah, I'm kind of like with dying with dignity, and with that, I'm kind of like up and down with it. I do believe that everybody does have the choice to choose where, I mean, if they want to take that route or not. But I also believe that there are things in place, such as hospice and doulas, that can
Right,
make the transition in more comfortable. I
right, right.
strongly believe that nobody, you know, how could I put it? It's kind of like ending your own life in a sense. And I think
They call it
that
assisted
that's not,
suicide. They call it assisted suicide.
yeah, yeah, sister suicide. So I don't think that, that's something that God will per se be proud of for us, because I think that He wanted to be natural. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's some people that are just like, I don't want to suffer. I don't want to do it. You know, it's
I
their
mean, I
choice.
well, I mean, being in mental health, right? We hear about this a lot, but those people are usually very depressed to consider things like that, and they may or may not have support
Hmm.
like from someone such as yourself to help them to feel like they can transition in a way where they could be comfortable and around their families. And so that's why it's so important for them to know what's out there, that they have support, they have resources such as yourself, right? So it's important to know what all your options are, right?
Yes.
Because some of them don't even. I'm sure I'm sure some of them had no idea what a death doula was. You know,
I'm sure. Yeah. No, even to
I'm
this
sure.
day, when I tell people that I
Yeah,
tell them I'm a death doula, they be like, death? death, and they point to the ears. So I say end of life, like
Yes,
death, like you dying. Yes. And they're like, what? They have those? Yeah, I was shocked too. It's a whole community. I taught the community. Yeah, I done did some webinars with the community of deaf doulas.
love
Yes.
it. That's beautiful. Oh my
It's a whole
goodness.
community on social media. You can get on Facebook. They have a whole community of doulas, birth and death.
Yes. Birth and death. That's
hmm
beautiful.
And they go hand in hand. I just wish that people would celebrate death as much as they celebrate life, because
Mm-hmm.
it's a beautiful journey too, if it's done right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If it's done right.
I want to thank you so much for taking this time out to speak with me and for being so open and honest about your journey and like sharing your personal story.
And then hopefully, later on, like later in my journey, once I, have more, like we can talk again,
Oh,
because
oh yeah, we
I
definitely can for
yeah, we
sure.
could talk again. And I honestly mean what I say, Cambria. If you know anybody that's unsure, really, and they just need somebody to talk to, come by. Even if they need somebody to show them how to reposition their loved one, like I will go do it. I will go show them. I will show them different techniques that they can do to make sure that their person, their loved one, is comfortable. And I mean it wholeheartedly. Like, don't ever hesitate. Hey, I know somebody. I'll go.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, and I will. I will put it out there. I'll put spreading the word out virtually and verbally for sure. I will.
Okay,
Okay.
perfect. Perfect. Because I'm
All
getting
right.
ready to start a YouTube channel too. So we're educating
Okay.
on dying. So yeah, so that's another thing
Good.
I'm incorporating. So I'm like, I got a little outline for that. I'm like, okay, you got to do this. And I'm like, you got to do it because people need to be more aware.
We do. Okay. Yes. Please. Yeah. Please share. Yes. And we'll keep in touch. Okay. For sure.
Okay.
All
All
right.
right. Thank you.
So much.
You're
Bye.
welcome. Bye.